Hey guys, BigGunner81 here. Just want to kind of give you a quick idea on how to check your gas rings on your bolt. What prompted me to make this video is a friend of mine posted some pictures on his Facebook of his gas rings, or what was left of his gas rings from his RGuns bolt after a ton of rounds that were ran through it. They were very much worn out. There wasn't much material left of at least one of the rings. And this is my RGuns bolt here too from my AR-15. Has probably close to 1,000 rounds through it. I'm not really sure. I don't keep a round count, but anyway, both these bolts here are dirty. This other bolt is a nickel boron coated bolt from SMI. Just want to kind of give you a comparison on how to check this. Now, let's start out with the nickel boron. To check the rings, you're going to have you can see the bolt slides in and out there. You're going to slide the bolt all the way out of the carrier like so. You're going to set it on the bench and see if it can hold the weight of the carrier, the bolt carrier. Just kind of loosely holding it just to balance it. You can see this one, the bolt stays extended. It doesn't go back into the carrier. Those rings should be good. On my RGuns, it moves very freely, and I haven't had no functionality problems with this rifle at this point. You can kind of set this here. You can see it basically cannot hold its own weight. Now the bolt will stay, it won't just fall down. It's not that loose, but it's loose enough that it can't hold the weight of the bolt carrier. So these rings are probably worn, at least to the point of recommending replacing them, versus is it going to be going to cause a failure at this point? Probably not. They're still working, but how soon is it going to be until there is a failure? So it's kind of like preventative maintenance for your AR-15 to replace these rings when you get to that point. Another friend of mine mentioned about these bolts too is that you don't want them tight to the point where you can't flick the bolt out like so. This SMI bolt is a little bit tighter, and it is also kind of dirty right now. Like I said, I haven't cleaned it yet. It takes a little more force to flick this one out. It's kind of hard, but you can kind of see it does flick out. So it's a little stiffer, but the rings on this one are much newer, and again, they passed the test as far as holding the weight of the carrier. So luckily, I have this DPMS AR-15 Ultimate Repair Kit, which comes with a whole bunch of key components that do wear out on these. Springs and detent pins and the extractor key, firing pin, disconnector, takedown pins, all types of good stuff is in this box. Definitely worthwhile having one of those on hand, but I am going to definitely order some extra gas rings because that seems to be the thing that wears out the quickest for me at this point. So let's kind of pop this apart and see what these look like. Go ahead and take out the retainer there, drop out the firing pin, set those off to the side, push the bolt in, take out the cam pin, and now we got the bolt out. Again, I cleaned this before I went shooting with it, but it's probably got another 100 rounds through it. When I checked it before taking it out, it would still hold that bolt carrier up. So it's to the point now where these rings are probably going to need to be replaced. And basically, you can just use like a pick and take them off. And I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll show you guys. So the top row of rings here is the old RGuns rings that have probably close to 1,000 rounds on them. And down here are the new DPMS rings. I'm kind of sitting at awkward angles, but you can definitely see the difference in wear between this ring right here on the right and the one below it right here. It's definitely worn out. I kind of use the firing pin here to kind of point to it. It's definitely worn out right in this area. You can see it's real thin compared to this. There's no it's like a little tip or whatever you want to call it right up in here. If you look at the one on this ring, it's definitely worn away. So not a bad idea to replace them this time around. I'm cleaning this bolt up, and just wanted to kind of show you guys this. I'm going to go ahead and clean up this bolt, reassemble it, and then we'll recheck it. Here's what you don't want to do when you install these rings. You don't want to have them lined up where the gap is all in the same position, because now you're giving the gas a path to run through. These rings are meant to seal, not to to allow a path for that gas to flow. It's very much like installing your piston rings on a motor, like a gas motor or whatever for your car. You want these rings to be staggered so that now you're basically allowing them to seal properly. If you can get them all equidistant from each other, that's great. They probably will move around, so as long as you stagger them somewhat, that's probably the best you're going to do. Just kind of take my fingernail and I kind of move them around a little bit. But yeah, we'll go ahead and put a little bit of lube on here, and we're going to go ahead and put the bolt together and we'll retest it. Okay, so we got the RGuns bolt here all nice and cleaned up, and got the gas rings replaced on it, and also put a new retainer in too as well, since the old one was kind of beat up a little bit. So let's go ahead and retest it, recheck it, and see what happens. And as you can see, the bolt is no longer sliding into the carrier under its own weight, and that's a good thing. That means we definitely have adequate tension on the rings. And of course, go ahead and push it in. It doesn't take too much effort to push it in. It's pretty easy. But with the flick test, see, the bolt doesn't slide out. Now, I'm not going to hold that against the bolt because it's brand new rings in there, so I don't think that that's really an issue, especially since I can fairly easily rotate that bolt out and push it in. I think it's more or less that those rings have to get broken in and seat in, and I think it'll be just fine. So that's pretty much how to check your gas rings and our AR-15 bolts. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time guys, go out and have some fun shooting.